Step into the story, hear a brand new view. Life keeps changing, but the way we move does too.
From the tech we're wearing to the roads we roam, finding our direction, calling this world home.
Blind abilities, the musical, every voice rising, standing tall. Different ways of seeing, strong and real and true. It's not what's missing, it's what we do. From Braille in our fingers to the cane in our hand, we're learning, living, making our stand. Blind abilities are musical. Come take the ride, come hear it all. Blind abilities are musical.
Come take the ride, come hear it all.
Good evening, and welcome to Blind Abilities News,
where accessibility meets innovation
and lived experiences becomes the headline.
Tonight, wearable technology that blends in instead of standing out.
the reality of degenerative vision loss and why it accelerates.
And Braille, called outdated by some, essential by those who use it.
We begin with wearable gear. Lori and Pete are out in the field where style, tech, and independence intersect.
That's right, Jeff. These aren't devices you explain anymore.
They're devices you wear, and sometimes nobody even notices.
And that changes how people treat you and how you see yourself.
They don't hang heavy on my face. Don't shout instructions, don't take up space. No wires, no warnings, no medical stare. Just something I put on like anyone would wear. They used to ask me, what's that thing you're using? Now they don't ask anything. That's silence. That's freedom. I don't have to explain my need. I don't have to slow my speed. When design stops standing out, that's when independence counts. Just wear them, let them disappear. Just wear them, let the moment stay right here. When the tech fades out of view, life comes rushing back to you. Just wear them.
From assistive to invisible.
Design finally listens. And independence lasts longer.
Double the battery means double the trust. Not hoping it lasts, not wishing it does. I don't plan my day around fear. I plan my day around living here. When it lasts long enough, I stop checking the clock. I stop calculating exits. I stop bracing for drops. Just wear them, nothing extra to prove. Just wear them and move like you move. When it blends in, it lets me out. When no one notices, that's what it's about.
That battery life, that's the difference between confidence and contingency.
And that's why wearables aren't gadgets anymore. They're gear. You know, Cheryl and Sri, wearable gear, I remember the days where we had tethers and all sorts of stuff. And now you think about it, wearing glasses, holding a GPS unit and trying to navigate with all these devices strapped to you and stuff. I just wanted to wear stuff that is insignificant or autonomous. You know, you just look normal and stuff. And that's where I think smart glasses, the Meta Ray-Bans, come in, where you're just wearing sunglasses, but you have some technology working for you.
I definitely agree. I think within the last 3 years, for those who have low vision or who are visually impaired, these smart glasses are a major product that came into our lives. At least for me, I've found having my hands free, not having to hold the phone out, like I'm one of those who can see, kind of walking around and paying no attention to their surroundings. But with these glasses, I'm walking like a normal person trying to do the normal things.
And I love that mine are purple because they're fashionable as well.
One of the important things, with these glasses, going back to previous glasses, they don't look like normal glasses. It made you look odd, made you look different from others. And now with these glasses, you look more like everybody else as you walk around. And I feel that we've gotten more independence with these things, especially with these glasses with AI built in.
I think what you mentioned about hands-free is 90% of what I like about it. And, Ray-Ban, how can you go wrong with trying to fit in with just an average pair of glasses? Fitting in is the key thing here. I don't want to draw attention to, loud voiceover or, people come over and you turn the TV on. Like when the grandkids come over and I turn the TV on and they go, what's that voice explaining the cartoons? So I had shut off audio description. Or when you're going someplace and you have the cane and other types of devices, there's certain things that become our scarlet letter. People see, you were identified as blind. But I think with some of these wearable devices nowadays, we're on the brink of fitting in without drawing so much attention towards our needs.
Well, and also the practicality portion. I mean, you got a cane in one hand, so you're already out one, or a dog handle. And then, like, if you have anything else in your other hand, you can't have your phone there. So it's just practical.
And also cost, if you think about it. These devices previously was in the thousands, and now we're at the hundreds, and we're getting a lot of competition. They always say competition is good, and these wearable devices, as you read, you'll find out that there are more companies coming out with these. And I'm looking forward to seeing what CES is going to come out with these kind of wearable devices from other manufacturers. And hopefully that will result in better technology, better looking glasses, better accessibility, better AI, all the better things that come with competition. And I did try the Oakley Vanguard, and I will say they look pretty nice. I was a little skeptical when it was gold, and I did try the gold, and my wife said, it's not the good fit, and they have other colors. So I think this is slowly evolving to something that some have said could replace the phone, and that potential is there.
Pete, Lori, action, 120. Lori, the next song coming up, oh my, about going blind. Action in 120.
Yes, it was very beautiful.
I actually shed a tear when I listened to it because it's so real. It hits home. I think all of us probably feel some of that when we listen to that tune. The melody's gorgeous, and Jeff, you did a fantastic job working on that, and the lyrics are just right on. I can't believe it.
Yes, it struck home with me as well. As a person with RP, that's my whole life. That's my whole journey with this, is how that song conveyed it.
Yeah, I like when it starts in the corners. The vision doesn't go away all at once. It just kind of starts creeping into the corners and starts shrinking in towards the middle. And I don't have RP, but I have macular degeneration. I started noticing it when I was really young. And over the years, it was just a very, very slow burn,
Yep. I think we can all relate to that.
Yeah.
Year by year, day by day.
Day by day.
I've noticed just in the since I moved to Minnesota, I barely used a cane in 2004. That was 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I'm completely dependent on a cane. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about when I started using the cane too, back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quiet on the set. Quiet on the set. Vision loss isn't linear.
It doesn't fade politely.
It accelerates.
At first, you compensate. Then one day, you're negotiating with darkness.
And the future you thought was distant suddenly feels close.
It didn't rush in. It took its time. Corner by corner, year by year. First it softened the edges, then it shortened the day. Until the light I depended on started slipping away. People say, at least you still have some. They don't see how fast some disappears. I learned to memorize rules. I learned to trust in my hands. I learned that preparation is how you make a stand. The darkness isn't empty. It's not the end of me. It's filled with skills and voices that help train while I can. I don't wait for the night to understand. If the dark ever comes, it won't find me unready. The darkness isn't empty, it's steady.
It doesn't arrive all at once.
It compounds.
And preparation becomes survival.
Skills aren't optional, they're insurance.
On blindness, we all have our journeys, and my journey is continuing, and slowly but surely, the degenerative eye disease I have is taking its toll, and I'm seeing less and less as I go along. And honestly, I have to consider that for the future as well. So practicing Braille, learning techniques, or upping my game on my accessibility devices a little bit, things I have to consider.
You know, my story is a little bit different because my older brother and my older sister, they also are blind, and they were blind before me. So I had the opportunity to observe them, learn from them in the event that, I also end up getting the same disease, which I did. But being around them and learning the process that they went through helped me. And one thing I did is I didn't wait till I was losing my sight to learn. I learned as I observed them, I started learning. So when I was early diagnosed with RP, I started just moving forward and learning what I need to do about accessibility. And at this point, I've not learned Braille, but it's on my plate. For hopefully this year, I'll kind of start learning that. But I hate to use the word, I was lucky that I had siblings, but it did help me. And I appreciate what they taught me as they went through the journey. And I'm grateful for all the technology that we have now.
Me too. I'm so thankful for all the technology we have, because when I fully lost my sight years ago, there wasn't as much as there is now. So it's definitely, especially as we were talking about the wearables and all of the different things, that was not a thing. So I think now we can be a lot more efficient than we could back in the day. So my journey to vision loss started at birth, and then at 16, I lost all the sight in my right eye due to a surgery, and then I was dependent on my left eye, which always was my worst of the two. And about, what has it been now, like 12 years? I've been totally blind. Now I can't even see the sun, so like no light, no nothing. Although I disagree with the statement about darkness, because I don't actually see darkness. It looks like I'm in a lit room all the time, but obviously I can't see the light. And I'm seeing a colorful kaleidoscope all day. So my favorite color is purple, and I get to see it every once in a while when it comes into my vision from these little colorful things that happen all day long. So it's not darkness for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It can be beautiful.
I think the acceptance part of it is something you kind of have to swallow a little bit, because until you accept it, it's hard to build a roadmap, like get training or to start using the cane. Acceptance is a personal thing, and some people around you, oh, you're doing great, oh, you're doing fine. That's fine. That's fine. It may seem all good, but when you live with it 24/7, whether you've lost it all or you're losing some more, and the road ahead looks colorful, as you put it, or colorless, I guess. Everyone's so uniquely different, and their journeys are so uniquely different that everyone has their own book, and maybe similar, but totally unique.
I also say, as you go through this journey, try and enjoy it. It's not all downers. There's so much things you'll achieve, and you'll feel the joy of achieving these things. I know for me, I used to be able to run, and now I have to kind of crawl and walk. And that was tough to deal with, but I knew that that's how my journey was going to be. Nothing's going to happen really quick anymore. It's going to take some process and some time. And I learned to deal with it. And once I learned to deal with it, it made my journey a lot more happier or pleasant. For me, like I said, having my sister and my brother go through this, and then saying to myself, they've done it, many others have done it. Blind Abilities gave me an outlet to understand things, and so many other organizations out there. And as you get involved more and more, that journey becomes much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, especially, I mean, think about it. We're all talking to each other, and we wouldn't be if we didn't experience vision loss. That's what's brought us all together. And so there are some good things that come from it as well. Like my best friend, I met her when I was in seventh grade, I believe, and she was in eighth grade, and our TVI brought us together, and we're still friends. We still talk to each other all the time. And so we tend to think of it as like the worst case scenario and mostly a societal thing. I mean, they fear blindness more than they fear cancer, which, like to me is crazy, but it's such a societal, it's just the worst thing that ever could happen to somebody, or at least that's the belief. And sometimes there are some really great things that come out of it. I mean, blind abilities, what was that, like 2011 or something like that? I mean, I still talk to Jeff, and so hey.
And for me, I've met so many more interesting people after I lost my sight than I did when I could actually see.
Hmm.
And if you really ask my wife, she'll probably tell you that I've been much more happier after I lost my sight than I was when I could see. Maybe because I find my life more meaningful, or I'm doing things that brings more enjoyable to me. So, it's not all been bad.
Yeah. One thing for me is just the stability. Like when you're going through vision loss, it's like you're at a point and then you get to another point and you get to another point and you keep like recalibrating basically. And when you're totally blind, like you're just there, you're stable. Like there's nothing more to, you're not gonna wake up one day and be like, oh, I lost more sight. It's like it's gone. So now I just have to adapt to what I have.
Yeah, sitting on that fence of low vision and blindness, it's a tough area. You feel very good when you're a high partial, but as you move towards the other side of that fence and you finally ease yourself down into that zone, it's good in a sense. Like you said, it's what was the word you used?
Stable.
Yeah, it's something you can build upon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One thing that I learned was I thought I was in a terrible spot. And then I went to a training center. I took a tour of it and I met a bunch of other people. And at first I was like, oh my God, I'm not that blind. I don't need this. But when I did start there 2 weeks later, I thought they were the greatest people in the world. So it changed my perspective. They were doing things confidently. They were busy doing things. And I wanted to be busy too. So it's not like I left the sighted world, abandoned them, and went into it. It was like, oh my gosh, the possibilities that are there when you meet other people. You had your brothers and sisters situation. You met someone that TVI connected you up with. And once you start meeting other people within, I don't know if it's a community, but within the blindness world, it's like really can change your perspective towards the good.
I completely agree. I always tell people you got to be in the community. Then you'll get a much better comfort zone and you'll see all the different stages in the group. You'll see the ones that have just started losing their sight and those who are going through the journey and those who've been in this journey for many, many years. When I go to the library and I teach this voiceover class, I always tell people about my 3 T's. It starts off being terrified, that you've lost your vision. And then I talk about all the different trials you'll go through. And every trial that you succeed, you feel the last T, which is triumph. You feel the success of doing something, accomplishing something.
Yeah, I have a student who's going through vision loss, so he's new to all this. And he was like, well, I talk to you every day. And he's like, you're just so happy and excited. And he's like, it can't be that bad. So sometimes, just knowing somebody else can help too.
Yeah, I completely agree with that too.
Some say Braille is obsolete.
Usually people who never try to learn it.
Braille doesn't compete with technology, it stabilizes it.
They say it's old school. They say it's slow. They say the world moved on, but I still know. When the battery dies and the screen goes black, Braille doesn't disappear, it waits right back. It takes some time, it takes some grit, but once it's there, you don't forget it. Read it with your hands, let the dots be clear. Read it with your hands, it's literacy right here. Literacy doesn't expire, it adapts and it stays with you. Braille isn't nostalgia, it's infrastructure. Read it with your hands and know where you
I hear talk out there on the internet, on other podcasts and other places, wherever you go. Some people, when they talk about Braille, they talk about how it's dead, how it's old school. And yet, I honestly think that these very same voices do not pick up Braille. They don't practice it. I'm reading Johnny Appleseed right now. I'm halfway through it. And it's a kid's book. It's easy reading. It's supposed to be easy reading. But every once in a while you come to a word like Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's a long word, you know. It's like you kind of know it's there, but you want to find every letter, you know, the SY, you know, all that stuff. But I noticed that I pick up on the spelling. And with voiceover or, you know, using a screen reader, I really don't pay attention to spelling. I'm listening. I'm just listening. I'm not going through and editing. Sometimes I have to. But when I was in Braille, it was like, oh, that's how you spell that, you know, Johnny and N-Y, you know, huh. So it was really interesting. And then I have a calendar. I have the Snoopy calendar. I just put up the new one this year. So I use it in certain areas. And I have a slate and stylus, a no-card one, where I slide a 3x5 or a 4x6. I think it's 3x5 into it. And I have a stylus so I can take down a quick note. If I need to, if I'm sitting in a meeting or something, I hear something, I can just click, 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 you know, just punch it in there. I'm not going to write a book. I'm just going to take down a note, or it's in room 307 or something like that. And for all those people who live in apartment 307, I wasn't referring to you, but it's just a way to do it. We all remember the 5-paragraph paper. Well, I used to write down 5 words, and that would lead me. I could give a speech and have that card right on the podium, and it would give me that keyword for the next topic. So there's ways to use it where, yeah, you're not reading War and Peace, but you're at least utilizing it. And once you start practicing it a little bit, like I set it on the dinner table, it's sitting there right now. And I just flip the book over and start where I left off. And right when I'm having a sandwich or something, I just take an extra 10, 20 minutes and start reading a few more pages. Keeps it relevant.
I absolutely love Braille. Like, always been really fast. I actually decided years ago to teach myself Braille because I kind of knew that maybe one day I wouldn't be able to see. And so I sort of did that in advance. But I just love it. And especially now, most of my day I'm using a screen reader. I'm talking to people. Like, there's just so much noise. And if I sit down at the end of the day and read Braille, it's quiet and it's therapeutic. So I love that NLS e-reader that they have now.
And Sri, I would suggest to you to get an alphabet card. It's just a, 3x6 card, and it has A through Z, and then 1 through 10, and might have a little saying at the bottom, and an example of contraction, maybe. But they're just simple cards. You can get them from the National Braille Press. Yeah, and you can get these cards, and usually they're free. Or if you go to a convention or something, go find their table and stuff and get one. Because I use that, and I deciphered a note that when I first went to training, these girls put a note on my locker, and holy cow, I had to decipher it. So I figured out, and they were inviting me to a party. I mean, that's an incentive to learn Braille right there. I didn't learn much in my class, but when people started writing you letters, and they were pissed off because they had to write in grade 1, you know. So they wanted to get me up to grade 2 real quick. So it's kind of neat. If you ever get a chance to have a pen pal, like you want to learn Braille, just put a stamp on a manila envelope and send it to the person. Put a piece of cardboard in there so it doesn't all get squashed. And it's very interesting to have a incentive like a pen pal to read a little bit. You know, it's not going to be long. It's just enough to get a taste of it.
Well, for me, I'm definitely in the other extreme. When I was losing my sight, I always told myself, with the current technology, I won't need to learn Braille. And as I've gone through this journey, I find telling myself, boy, if I just knew Braille, it would have probably made this situation much easier. Because sometimes I'm using my finger to trace something to figure out what it actually is, especially like on elevators or in my recent flight when I went to India. The seats also had Braille, but I couldn't read it. So I was, trying to count seats to get back from the restroom back to my seat, and I always mess up. So there are definitely reasons for me to learn Braille, and I appreciate both of you guys talking about it, because that gives me more incentive to start the process. And that is going to be one of my things to do this year, is to learn Braille. So
Yeah, and Hadley has a really great program. They'll send the stuff right to your house.
Cheryl, it's funny you mentioned that, because that booklet is right here at my desk. It has it. It's literally, I'm not lying to you, it's sitting right next to my desk. So it is, I did get this from them. And believe it or not, I got it back probably a couple of years ago. But I've been always putting it off. But it is, I brought it this year, put it next to my desk. So it is definitely something that I'm going to try and do, because I can definitely see it.
Hadley's saying it's on you.
Yeah, it's all me now. It's like I have no excuses. I made so many different excuses, with everything that I don't need it. Especially, I find and Cheryl, you made a good point, is sometimes, I'm trying to say something and there's just so much noise and I don't know what I need to say because I really can't hear it. But if I had it in Braille, I could probably be successful in it.
And people talk about that it's extortionate to get these refreshable Braille units and stuff like that. But if you order a children's book or something of that nature, you can get that quiet, that silence, and just enjoy the book. Especially if you know the book, Charlotte's Web or anything else, Old Yeller. Now that's a bigger book, but the short books, Dr. Seuss. Well, he kind of rhymes some weird words, so I would stay away from that for first. But just simple little books or something that you've read before. It's a good way to do it because you can anticipate what's coming up.
Yeah, even just a very basic example is what we're trying to do today. I use my phone or my computer to read what I want to say, in 1 year, listening to what it's trying to do. And then I'm trying to also go along with everything else that's going on. If I did know Braille, it would have made this process probably a lot easier for myself.
Oh, and Cheryl will probably be able to speak to that. You can read Braille and talk at the same time.
Yes, and I've done a lot of my presentations. I had to do the VA. I had to do presentations, so I would just write down in Braille kind of what I wanted, just the topic, not word for word, but just the topic. So it kind of kept me on pace as well.
Yeah, that's what I did with the note cards.
But even if you know grade 1, you can read door and elevator information and that kind of thing, because that stuff normally is in grade 1, right?
Yeah, like the tables at McDonald's have a little circle there, and it's in Braille.
Yeah. I've read those. Braille's always cool when it's unexpected. They have these things that they just put in the park here at my house, near my house, and they're little signs, and they have Braille on them for kids. I'm like, that is so cool.
I will tell you, my daughter got a tattoo in Braille.
Oh, cool.
And she told me, Dad, I got this for you. And it says perseverance. And that's it made me really think about it. It is, it's a journey, but you got to persevere to go through this. And she always reminds me about it. So, I did appreciate her getting that one.
It is a neat journey. I mean, it's the only journey I know. It's the only chapter that's ahead of me. So I like it. I like life. And this is the way I live it.
And as we all age, Braille would be good for hearing loss, So if we can't hear the screen reader anymore, at least we'd have something.
Braille louder.
Yeah. All caps.
Get out the Perkins.
I actually have one on my desk as we sit here.
I was just going to turn around and hit a couple keys. I got one sitting on the shelf right over here.
I love it, though.
Educate me, for someone who is not a Braille user, has the Braille technology, has that evolved, or is it still the same, or has this gotten easier, better, cheaper? What is it for someone who's interested in looking at Braille but doesn't really know yet?
I think it's improving and it's changing every day. There's the Mac just included, and VoiceOver has a Braille system now that they just put in iOS 26. And the refreshable Braille now you can get from NLS. They have an e-reader. And then also they have what they call multi-lane Braille now. So you can actually use a refreshable Braille display to see images. It comes up in Braille so you can feel it, rather than just the words. Yeah, it's evolving every day.
So I was at the ACB National Conference and I looked at one of the products, which looks like an iPad, but it had pixels that raise up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at feel an image, I can feel all the texture of the image. I thought it was really cool, but I also realized it was very, very expensive. Just
Oh, yeah. You're probably talking about the
Yeah.
Monarch.
Mm-hmm.
obviously, it reminds me of the glasses that most people couldn't afford. The price was just way, way out there.
Mm-hmm.
Has that kind of technology, I know this is kind of, maybe this is new, I'm not sure, but has Braille technology itself, prices have gone down, or has it always been around the same price?
I think the Mantis is a breakthrough in a sense where people don't actually need an entire computer where they take some notes and stuff like that, but basically they use it as a refreshable Braille or a chameleon, 20 cells compared to 40 cells. And that's about 2,500 or 7 to 1,800, something in that nature. Is that right, Cheryl?
I think that's, yeah, I've been looking at these different ones. I'm kind of torn between two and I can't make a decision. But yeah.
And are there organizations that'll support in getting you these devices, or is it kind of like the wearables like before, it basically comes out of your pocket?
It depends on if you're young and going to vocational rehab and find that it would be beneficial to you, or if you'd have to find some support that way, or out of pocket. I consider if you're going to spend $2,700 on one, you should be using Braille.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go get one to learn Braille. Like she said, the NLS, they have Cheryl, tell them about the NLS and how he can get that.
So it's called the NLS e-reader, and they have two different versions. One's made by Humanware, which is pretty common in the Braille display field. And then there's also one by Zumax, and that depends on which state you're in. So I have the Humanware one, but you can actually connect this thing to your computer. You can connect it to your phone. So you can use it as a Braille display. It's not just for Braille books.
So going back to basics here, what is a Braille display? Because my vision of display, is it the same as the Braille display, or do I have my terminology mixed up here?
Picture a row on your keyboard as you draw your fingers straight across it, left to right. That would be cells, whether it be 20 cells or 40 cells. And each cell is like a 6 on a die, which is a Braille cell. And so some dots pop up to form letters or contractions and stuff, and you read it from left to right, and then you line feed. And so you're continuously moving that line up if you're reading a book or reading notes, whatever you're doing. Basically, refreshable Braille is something that takes information from somewhere, whether it be the phone, a drive, or your computer, and you're reading it in Braille, what's maybe on the screen or what's in the book. So that's a refreshable. Where a note taker is something that tries to be a computer and all in one. They get very expensive. But the thing that has changed today is, like Cheryl mentioned, Apple bringing on Braille into their devices and stuff, where a refreshable Braille device is pretty much all you would need if you're going to tandem it up with another device.
Okay, thank you.
Is that right, Cheryl?
Yep.
This has been Blind Abilities News.
Where the headlines are live.
And the independence is built.
Thanks for listening.
I'd like to thank everyone who participated in the creation of this Blind Abilities, the musical. Big shout out goes out to Cheryl, Lori, Pete, and Shree. For more podcasts with the blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com. And if you want to leave some feedback, give us some suggestions, give us a call at 612-367-6093. We'd love to hear from you. I want to thank you for listening, and until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the reality of blind abilities.
And the reality of blind abilities.